Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Bro, CEO of TopStep. Welcome to this month's webinar. We're focused today on delivery management and project management within OpenAir. So let's get started. So this is the agenda for today's presentation. It's really focused on, some of the options around controlling and setting up and managing projects in OpenAir, as well as communicating within your organization, but also with your customers. So often we run into customers, they're looking to really standardize their projects as much as they can, so they can be able to report and view consistency across their organization, but also build efficiency. And there's a number of ways we see this happening. First off, being able to define a set of projects that are delivered in a consistent manner, and we use project templates to help control those, at least giving us a starting point. And that gives you a nice time saver of not setting up each project from scratch and being able to use those templates. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the use cases we see. Also, being able to have consistent reporting, delivery oversight, and status tracking, being able to report across projects and look for any projects that might be in trouble or at risk, and being able to take action proactively. And then being able to have a standardized phase task structure that aligns with your pricing model and the effort you're going to be doing, and being able to then report across those and manage those across all your similar projects. So these are kind of some of the standardizations we see a lot, and we'll talk a little bit about each one of these in more detail. So we'll start with project templates. Most every organization that we work with has at least one, maybe usually more templates. And really, they really are handy for being able to aid in the project creation process. Templates can generally have, obviously, a phase task structure, but also other items that we want to copy from. You can copy bookings, you can copy assignments from the task structure. So if you have a template with tasks, and you may have budgeted hours on each task and generic resources based on how you staff those projects. And that can all come into your project, and then from there, you can always go in and change or update based on what was actually called out in your contract with your customer. There's usually a checkbox that's enabled in the accounts that allow templates to be copied from. So you want to kind of control that checkbox on your projects, so that you're limiting to only those projects to be copied from that are templates and blessed templates sitting in the template stage. And we've talked about being able to copy from some of the copy options. So here's a few copy options. Bookings was recently added in the last couple of releases to copy from templates, but you can copy all these different items if they're necessary. Budgets, project approvers, billing rules. I've often seen customers have templates based on billing rules instead of based on how they deliver a project. So you could have fixed fee, milestone-based templates, and T&M-based templates. So you get to bring in those generic billing rules or revenue rules, and then be able to tweak those based on the contract. So just a few items where templates can be really handy. Often also we see with templates is can be called, when creating projects directly in OpenAir, but they can also be called when creating projects in OpenAir. So if you're integrated with either a NetSuite or another CRM, and you're creating projects that way, you can call the template in the creation process if there's information in the system that's creating the project that tells what type of template to use. And so that can be really helpful too, in being able to auto create these projects and auto attach the templates to the projects. But often, sometimes we see where the projects are just coming over with just the header data, and there's no identification of what types of templates or maybe your templates are more product based and you may be able to combine products in a particular project. In that case, what we've seen is where you could have templates that are copied from after the project creation. So this allows you to go into the template, copy phases and tasks from a specific template, and merge those into a project. So you can copy from multiple templates if need be. And that's another way that templates can be used. They don't always have to be upon creation. They can be after the fact beneficial as well. A couple of other project control items that we see often used. Baselining can be really handy as you're managing and setting up your projects. After you've updated all of your hours, your planned hours, your phase breakdown structure based on what you're going to deliver for your customer. If you're looking to manage your planned hours so that you can modify the planned hours based on what your actual delivery is going to be. So if we thought we were going to deliver 40 hours, and we ended up only with 20, and we want to be able to update the planned hours to be able to move hours around. Before you start the project, it's a good idea to take a baseline. And baseline really takes a snapshot of the project, and you can view view baselines, but also be able to see the baseline hours in the outline view. So in this example, you can see we started off with 6,420 hours in our baseline for this project, but our planned hours is at 6,350. So we've updated planned hours, but we can see what we saw. And this can be really helpful as you can see which tasks you've overspent hours on and which tasks you've underspent hours on. That can give you a great learning opportunity to improve your estimating process or improve your project delivery process. We also see a lot of customers that are looking to bundle tasks together and milestones, and using task predecessors is a great way to do that. So the business cases, if this milestone shifts a month because we're behind, we want all of the tasks or milestones beyond that to shift as well, without having to go in and manually update dates expected to be delivered. And so using predecessors, you have the opportunity to then go in and link milestones and tasks together. And so as you're managing task one and you're modifying the dates of task one, task two can be updated to modify its dates based on the action taken to task one. So these predecessors give you the ability to set finish to start, and other types, and also be able to build in lags between tasks. So it can be very helpful if you're using OpenAir in a traditional project management type of way to be able to automate the management of your phase test structure and based on dates to be delivered. Form permissions is another tool in your toolbox for controlling the data that you're putting in your projects. So there's data that you'll want to require. Make sure that you have consistency across your projects. There might be data that you don't want users to be able to audit, like budgets, budget hours, or cost centers, and those types of values that are coming in either through operations or through integrations. So we want to be able to make sure that you are getting a consistency of data in your projects and your tasks, and form permissions is a great way to do that. The simplest form permissions are the field-by-field permissions based on role. So using simple modified form permissions up in the light bulb area, you can open up, and now you can go field by field if you need to and decide which fields are required, which fields are read-only, and which fields are hidden. I'm often a big preacher to customers that let's have clean project forms. If there's fields that are needed but not needed by project owners, maybe only admins, let's go through and use the form permissions to clean up the project forms, clean up the clutter, so that it's very clear which fields are needed and what they're used for, and you don't have a lot of auxiliary fields that are not needed. Form permission rules are another option for controlling what fields and forms. And the benefit of these are, you can do a simple hide So you could say if stage is not blank, then hide all these fields. And that allows you a quick way to hide fields without having to go field by field, role by role, and tick, tick, tick. So that's one way I've used form permissions a lot, permission rules rather, quite a bit. But you can also do more conditional form permissions. So you may have, say, if it's in pre-sales, we want to require a probability field. But once it gets into in progress, we want to hide opportunity fields or read only those fields so they're no longer editable. So being able to hide or show or read only based on a criteria, often project stage is a key element, could be a key element to determine what fields show and which fields don't. But any drop-down fields on the project can be used, or in any form can be used to pivot your permissions and your actions you take. And another neat thing about this is being able to limit drop-down values based on the value of another field. So for example, product A, there may be a product field with products A through Z, but there may be a secondary field that depends on what product you pick, you may have additional values you need to choose through. Well, it could be lots and lots of values across all the different products, but you can go into OpenAir and say, if product A is picked, then show these fields. If product B is picked, then show only these fields. So it gives you consistency, gives you a good chance that people are going to get the data right, which then gives you great reporting and great visibility within the system and within the project. So permission rules are highly recommended to help the end users get the information they need and get it in the system accurately. Speaking of custom fields, we've seen more and more customers wanting to use OpenAir to flag projects based on a red, yellow, green, or green, amber, red, different types of statuses. And there's a few ways to do this. At Top Step, we have a set of fields based on different categories. So we have a budget status field, or resourcing status field, or scope status field. And those are 3 different fields that are all red, yellow, or red, yellow, green. And if anything is other than green, we require notes. And again, using those permission rules, we can require notes based on the value of our status fields. And this is really good for me. I can have global visibility of projects. Say, show me any projects that has any of these fields that are yellow or red. And you can have reports automatically pulling that data and then schedule those reports. So on Mondays, I get a report of any projects that have been put into a yellow or red state, and then I can see the notes, and then I can go talk to my project managers and determine what actions need to be taken. So again, very useful in being able to manage the statuses and be able to have internal review and updates inside of OpenAir. The newsfeed, it's a cool little feature. There's a few things that I wish it would do a little better, but on the surface, it's kind of a chat within a project. And so if you have a need for like being able to store notes, we're on track and here's why, or we're off track and here's why. You can go into the news feed within each project and add notes and then tag it to one of these tracks. You can actually display the news feed in the project list view. It's only going to show the last news feed. So if the last news feed said we're off track, we have problems, that would show up in the project list view, and you'd be able to see that, similar to what I called out as a status field. But it's going to have more detail, and you'll be able to see the history of that field if you're putting in using that for status. So, and it's also visible by anybody who has access to the project. They can go through and see it as well. So. Nice feature. I just wish it was a little more reportable. They're reportable in a project list view, but they're not reportable in the report module. So that would be the next use. I think that would make this a lot more powerful when that's the case. Hopefully that's on the roadmap. And news feeds are available via the role permission, so you can determine which roles have the ability to edit or view these news feed information. So this is just an example here. When you click the news feed, it's the little bell-looking icon within the project properties. You can then go in and add your notes and pick a status, and you can see a few examples, and then those then show up, are visible in the project list view. The issue table, you may think of it as the item table now, with the way that when OpenAir is being deployed, it's coming over as renamed issues to items, and there's out of the box, generally we see it's built out for tracking actions, statuses, or risks. But this table really can be used for any ancillary data you're looking to capture for your projects. And there's a couple of really nice things about this. One, it's fully available using permission rules that we discussed. So you can have, in this example, we have 3 different use cases for the same form. So you could say this is a risk, and then you have your risk fields that pop up or available based on the fact that this is a risk field. And again, requiring fields, hiding fields, etc. Or this is an action field, and then we can go in and show the action required fields and be able to see those. And again, those are all part of the project. So you can, a lot of customers will have time captured at more of a milestone phase level, but they want to have a list of items that are needed to be accomplished with all their projects. And so using this items or issues table, we can track what actions are needed to deliver an implementation project, and the PM can assign those to resources on the project. Those resources can go in and complete those. They can put notes. We can have prioritization and other factors here. So again, can be lots of use cases for this. We're actually looking at using this for one of our customers who does a lot of change orders, being able to track change orders as part of a project and be able to see the detail of what changed and what and when. So and again, another use case that this could be a good fit for. So there's unlimited use cases here. So something to think about. It's the only table in OpenAir that you can use for different purposes that's related to a project. And the other nice thing about this is you can go into a project and see all of the items within that project, but you can also, within the project module, go look at the items across all projects. And this is really nice to say, okay, Ron Bro is assigned to items across projects. So I'm Ron, I want to go in and see all the items that are assigned to me across all my projects. And this, by going into the items view within the project, you can kind of see everything across. So I can come in and see everything that's assigned to me, when it's due. I can do prioritization. I can edit them from here. So it's a great way to be able to see across projects. You can also create dashboards and reports that can show up so people can see what's assigned to them and when it's due as well. So could be very handy. Communication, few alerts I'll highlight. There is an out-of-the-box budget alert. There's some limitations here. We don't see this one used very often because it is global, and you really can't control a lot of the setup of this. But it is available, and it does work as it was designed. We often end up having customers ask us to do custom alerts based on project health, and you can do that in the scripting engine. We can script scenarios where if the budget is 50% complete, but those bookings are beyond that, then send an alert per project to these people. So we've done a lot of that in our scripting engine. We do a lot of custom alerts or custom workflows. If you're interested in that, please see our website. We've got a lot of examples that we've done for other customers. Custom notifications or notifications rather in OpenAir. There's two notifications. There's the out of the box notifications that I think most of the older OpenAir instances are deployed with. But then there is also, you can create your own notifications with a little more flexibility. So the old notification says, send an email when a project manager is assigned to a project. And you couldn't really control any of the criteria. You couldn't really control the messaging. It was just going to send an email. You can turn off the old out of the box notifications, turn on the notifications that are module specific. And now you can create your own notifications. You can customize the message. You can determine who gets sent that beyond just the project owners or client owners. So there's a lot more flexibility in the notifications for being able to communicate with anyone who needs to when changes are made, when assignments are made or projects are created. There's a lot more options now than there ever used to be before. So very handy. Highly recommend looking at the notifications. And then, of course, reports. Reports are the key to all of the visibility and the storytelling within OpenAir. Reports on dashboards, reports on project dashboards. Project dashboards can be really handy, being able to create those generic reports, being able to run those reports from the project to be able to answer the questions that your project managers are looking for without them having to go out of the project and dig for reports or create reports from scratch. So project dashboard can be is a really nice shortcut for putting reports there. You just have to monitor, make sure the right reports are showing up there. I've seen customers where they're copying reports from other reports and not realizing that the box is checked to put those reports on project dashboard. So you end up with lots of reports that are on the dashboards that don't belong. So you might want to be careful and keep an eye on that. The other thing that's nice about reports, we have a lot of customers that are asking us, hey, how can clients get information out of OpenAir? And while it's true that you're not going to give your customer a login to go in and get data, but that doesn't mean you can't get them data that's important to them. And usually that's around project status, project reports, invoicing information, but you can create those reports and you can schedule those. And if your customer has a contact record in OpenAir and has an email associated with that contact record, you can actually schedule those reports to be sent to your customer on a regular basis. So we had one customer that was spending hours and hours cobbling together time reports because they had to send every Monday, they had to send time reports to their customers. We created a couple of reports and we created up their contact records for their customers, put those on a regular schedule, and now they're hands off. So that's the beauty of using scheduled reports. It can be really time saving as well, obviously, and then obviously being able to run those reports on demand as needed. Status reports. So this is another feature OpenAir introduced a few years ago. It's configurable. It allows you to basically create a status report. You can create an internal status report for visibility that could show profitability, how you are from a cost perspective. But then you also could have a client-facing version that has limited fields based on what you're willing to share with your customer. The status report is like a little icon next to the bell where the news feed is. You click that, you can configure that, say if you're using the issue table, you can include issues, you can include tasks in this view as well. So again, there's some flexibility to configure this to show what you want to show both internally and externally if you decide to use this for your customer. The downside of using this for your customer is that you have to PDF it and then save it and then email it to your customer. There's no way to get this. You could get the same data in a report, but if you're using this form, you don't have a way to get it to your customer without a manual process. So that's the only thing that maybe could be improved on here, but it is could be very useful if you're looking for a way to pull real-time data into a status report and share it internally and externally. So in summary, project management is about solving problems for customers and solving problems internally. And so make sure you understand as you're setting your PMO up and you're configuring OpenAir is what are your goals of the system? What are your reporting goals? What are your metric goals? What are you looking to be proactive to solve for? There's a lot of options in OpenAir to configure it. It's not a one-size-fits-all PSA, but you have to determine what's best for your organization. Are you needing a very detailed project plan, or are you looking for more of a summary project plan? Do the actions table give you that visibility of what needs to get done and by whom and when, or does that not apply to you? So that's what we do when we meet with customers. We will help them walk through understanding all the different options and make sure that the right options are set up for their organization. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining today. It's great to see all the familiar faces each month. Greatly appreciate it. If you're looking for any more information, obviously, please hit our website. Again, we'll be posting this, but we have webinars on our website going back many, many years against all different topics. So feel free to take a look and see what you can find there to help you make sure you're using your OpenAir environment to the best of its ability.